final story. I get a chance now to travel quite a bit to speak. It's a privilege to speak. We don't get this hour back. So Keith, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be here. It's an opportunity that we had to be together. We don't get this time back. So I got invited to speak at San Antonio at Brooke Army Medical Center, where our wounded warriors from Afghanistan and Iraq now go for their prosthetics. They called me up and they said they'd send somebody to sweater, a shirt, and a tie, and I have my overcoat over my arms to look like a speaker. Then I have a bag at my feet with a terrible on it. And I looked rather odd standing in the airport that day because it was 95 degrees. Everybody else was in shorts and t-shirts. A guy in flip-flops walks up to me and says, "You just get off the plane from Minneapolis?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Looks like it." Are you Tom? I said, "Yeah." He says, "I'm your ride. Follow me." And so I did. But as I was standing there in the airport, watching people, I saw a young man, 21, 22 tops, haircut short, wearing a gray t-shirt with Army emblazoned across the chest in black letters, a pair of blue shorts. Because he had a t-shirt and shorts on, I could see that his right arm was missing and his left leg was a metal prosthetic. And with his left hand, he had it on the handle of the stroller, trying to push his infant son with great difficulty through the airport. And he's becoming frustrated. And then this young woman, 21, 22 tops, who I imagine just a year previously had said, "In good times and bad, in sickness and health, till death do us part I do," came up and put her left arm around her husband's waist, put her right hand on the other handle of the stroller, looked at him with love and said, "Let's push together. It's just too hard pushing alone." People ask me all the time, "What's servant leadership?" That's it. Let's push together. It's just too hard pushing alone. Think of this group of men right now. 135 men strong. What happens in Chippewa Falls today and surrounding areas if we lead by showing people our appreciation by the words in which we use, and our strength and our love and our commitment because we show up in the lives of other people? Think of what it is that God has called us to do. Not for ourselves, but for that next generation who's depending on us. It's good work, it's hard work, it's honorable work, but it's our work. Together. Let's push together. It's just too hard pushing alone. And finally, in honor of my father, I want to tell you one last story. Four months before he died, he went in for day surgery, the skin cancer. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll be okay." He gave me his word. He came out of surgery battered, bruised, and speechless, and I learned a new word: stroke. My father was an attorney, and he literally fed us by his words. He was eloquent as he stood before judge and jury. But now the words that came so easily were coming out of his mouth one at a time like water drops from a faucet. He loved puns and corny jokes, and he would say, "You know, Tom, a pun is enough spelled backwards, and I have just about enough out of you." But the words that now gave him delight were trapped behind his eyes. But this is what we learned. We become what we do. And these were the three patterns of words that he had used most often in his life that he had at the end of his life. When I was growing up in Wisconsin Rapids, a magical, mystical place, my father gave us our bath there in Paladin. Some of you remember this, so we could get downstairs and watch Gunsmoke. And while we were in the bathtub, he taught us all of his favorite songs. Oh, the amount of music I learned when I was naked. And then after our bath, he could put us in our jammies and put us in bed and sit on the end of our bed and tell us stories about his wonder dog, Pat. that he grew up with in Coleman, Wisconsin. Pat, the wonder dog, who played right field in a big game against Pound. They weren't too surprised to see a dog catch, but were they surprised when he came up to bat? Pat, the wonder dog, who climbed to the roof and spoke reindeer to Santa's sleigh and saved Christmas. These magical, marvelous stories he could tell us, and then pull the covers up tight, bend down and kiss us in the forehead and say, I love you. And after his stroke, we brought him to La Crosse. We could take care of him, and on Saturday nights, it was my privilege to go to the nursing home where my father lived and give him his bath, help him in his jammies, put him to bed, sit on the end of his bed and tell him those same stories and sing some of those same songs, pull the covers up tight, kissed him on the forehead, and heard those words that I will carry with me to eternity. I love you. The second pattern of words are the words that he taught us that we should use on the golf course and no place else. So it's kind of amusing. We'd be walking around the nursing home going, let's get the hell out of here. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's get the hell out of here. One day I'm at work and I got a call from Gunderson Luth and they said, Tom, come quick. I said, what's wrong? We lost your father. You lost him? He was in intensive care, then he's on a heart unit. He was right behind the nurse's station, got up and hooked himself to all the machines, found his clothes, snuck down the hall, walked down 5 flights of stairs, was 2 blocks away from the hospital. When he opened the car door, got in, looked at the woman who was driving and said, let's get the hell out of here. Thank God she was a nurse and brought him back. And the last pattern of words were his favorite. Thank you very much. Whether we went to a root beer stand or a little cafe, sometimes to a nicer restaurant, my father was always generous and polite and kind to those who served him. So the last 4 months of his life, anytime somebody brought him a plate of food, oh, thank you, dear. Helped with his shoes, thank you. Brought his medication, thank you so much. What kind of care would you suspect my father received the last 4 months of his life? Very good. For all of us, we reap what we sow. Sow a thought, reap an action, sow an action, reap a habit, sow a habit, reap a character, sow a character, reap a destiny, for we all become what we do. We all become what we do. So in the words of my father, to all of you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the ways in which you serve all of us. And then finally you say, okay, son, now it's time to get the hell out of there. Thank you.
That's so cool. Gentlemen, we are grateful that you're here. On the tables you see posters for Leading with Power. There's invite cards for Leading with Power.